start of this year, Prince Harry decided to release his tell-all book Spare, a book, of course, that caused a lot of heartache, despair for not just senior members of the British monarchy, but of course the late monarch herself of 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II. And then, of course, we had Meghan recently spouting off about how, she'd never signed an NDA and she literally could say anything that she wanted. This is verbatim in the Cut magazine in New York. So you would imagine that this has initiated a lot of interest in her book. And for a while there was certain interest, particularly from Prince Harry's publisher, Penguin Random House. This, of course, is the publisher that was brave enough to publish The Bench, something that's now seemingly disappeared off the planet. Obviously, that was an appetizer to make sure that Harry signed on the dotted line to make sure that they got the book that they wanted. Of course, as I told you before, it came at something of a price. But now Meghan's reluctancy to carry on with said book when we talk about deals has hit something of a bit of a buffer. This time around, though, it's not necessarily about money, or is it? As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you. We'll have a wave. Yeah, you're right. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for joining me. And as ever, thank you for your lovely comments about the recent videos, including the one about Balmoral. Have you ever been? Somebody said, Neil. I have. Very cold place. Love Scotland, though. It really is a nice place. I suppose I don't want to offend anybody in Scotland, but I do like Edinburgh. But you have to be careful when you go on that walk. If people know what I mean, the underground tunnels. Yes, if you're a little bit tall, it'd be a bit cramped going around there, but I love it. I remember going back years ago to a big store up there, I don't know if it's still going, called Jenner's. And it was kind of like the Harrods, I think, of Scotland. Everybody went to Jenner's. Big place, Back as ever, though, to your breaking ball story of the day. Fascinating story, this, quite literally, because the publishers who would be interested in Meghan Markle's tell-all book, the one that she spoke about saying she got no NDAs, which really was like a touchlight to a lot of people in publishing, because that meant that they didn't have to battle any legalities, It would be her word against the palace's word. Now, as we know, in a couple of months, there's another tedious tabloid book coming out by the friend that she claimed she never spoke to, but then lied in court and did, whichever way. She fed notes to a former assistant who revealed all. He liked her that much. Play on that whichever way you want. But what's interesting here is that Meghan, you see, has hit something of a buffer, because they really want the life story. Originally, they were looking at the royal stuff, but apparently, according to a well-placed source, it's a little bit tedious. You see, even in her short tenure, it appears that most senior royals kept their distance, or she kept her distance, one way or another. What they're really interested in is her life beforehand, considering now that she's cut off her father, most of her family, and more importantly, doesn't want to talk about her very first marriage to the Hollywood director Trevor Engelson. Now, you see, she can't, and this is the problem, because if she does, he does. And of course, once again, this could really start an absolute bonfire of vanities for Meghan. And, when you think about it with these people, they think they're very clever, don't they, in the beginning? They think, I hold all the aces, I hold all the cards. You never do in life. There's always somebody finds a way to twist it back. Now, you see, if Meghan is going to do a book, this is what they require from her. And if she can't deliver those said stories, or said, I don't want to talk about them in the book, like she did about her own family and Oprah Winfrey, then simply the price goes down. And for Meghan, money, as we've heard, is everything, allegedly. And the bottom line is, without details of the first marriage, a lot of publishers are simply not interested. It's a developing story, and when I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.